Other problems across central and north Alabama. I do want to caution you, we're still a few days out and we'll have a lot more clarity on the exact forecast as we get closer to this weekend. But for right now, you should start thinking about the possibility of ice in the forecast starting as early as Friday night, lasting through Saturday and even into Sunday. So we would mean travel is going to be impacted. So what we know right now, here's what you can expect. There is going to be a winter storm across the southern U.S. Where exactly the worst of those impacts happen are going to be really dependent on some fine scale details. Those are going to become more clear by tomorrow night and into Thursday. Right now, based on the current forecast for Alabama, we don't want freezing rain. We don't like freezing rain. Freezing rain causes problems. Greatest chance to see snow. The fun snow would be well north of here. So at this point, we have impact weather both Saturday and Sunday. Timing looks to be at the very earliest late Friday night, but most likely early Saturday morning, lasting through the day on Sunday. Threats, wintry mix with freezing rain being the most likely hazard, and that would mean travel impacts. Trees could come down as ice accumulates on branches. That would lead to power outages. So I am going to talk much more detail about the timing of this event coming up in my full forecast, I should say, in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Taylor.
The chance for some wintry weather this weekend, I know. So definitely need to prepare. I wanted to get you started with some headlines. So let's talk, though, between now and the weekend, keep checking back. Just start mentally preparing for the possibility of ice. We lose power in some spots. So at this point, it's a good idea to start making lists or plans on what you would do if you don't have power. Maybe make a list for things that you would buy at the grocery store that you could eat without power. Also make lists of things that maybe you need for the kids. If you are looking at the possibility of losing that power this weekend, what would you need in order to make sure the kids are occupied and ready to go? So what you can expect this weekend, there will be a winter storm across the southern U.S. We're just waiting on those fine scale details to come together for us to be able to really forecast where those highest impacts will be. At this point, our most likely scenario looks to be freezing rain. Freezing rain leads to ice accumulation. It's just kind of a mess, and it can honestly be dangerous. Higher chance to see impactful snow would be north of our area. So this looks to be mainly an ice event for us. So impact days, Saturday and Sunday. Timing right now looks to be early Saturday morning. We're talking about before the sun comes up. So we want your preparations done Friday night. This would last through the day on Sunday, and many of you would have slick spots around even into Monday as well based on the current forecast. Threats look to be a wintry mix with freezing rain, the most likely hazard across central and north Alabama. And with freezing rain, we start talking about impacts like travel being highly impacted, if not impossible, through the weekend. Trees could come down as that ice builds up on tree limbs, and then power outages resulting from either trees that come down or that ice on power lines. So right now, it looks like we are seeing the potential for an ice storm this weekend. Between now and then, no weather trouble. Now, there will be some rain around at times tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, but look at those temperatures well above the freezing mark, so we aren't worried about any kind of wintry weather concerns through Friday. But late Friday night into Saturday is when we start to open that window for that wintry mix to start. Once again, winter storm likely across the southern U.S. with the most likely impact here, freezing rain, and that potential for snow holding to our north. So let's map it out hour by hour. First warning, future track. And I want to point out here, impact from this, if this plays out exactly how this model is going to show you, this would be a high impact event for central and north Alabama. Confidence is growing that we will see wintry weather. This is 3 a.m. Saturday, and at that point, we've already had an onset of some wintry precip. So that means late Friday night, you should be set in place and ready to go. Early Saturday morning, where you see the pink, that's ice. This is the chance for some snow, maybe early Saturday, but look, it kind of changes over to all ice through the day Saturday. And it just doesn't stop. We keep accumulating that freezing rain into Saturday evening, into early Sunday as well. And so this is going to be a long duration event where we have wet weather around. That means the possibility of ice accumulating in a lot of spots. Now, it's too soon for me to give you exact ice totals, but I will tell you we're seeing signals that this could be closer to the major extreme side of things based on our current forecast. That would mean a lot of folks losing power and also the potential for just really some big impacts from ice. So it's really important that you're checking back. And what we're looking at is the possibility of a wintry mix. And really, it looks like the most likely precipitation type across our part of the state would come from freezing rain. So timing looks to be really early Saturday morning. So we are talking about before sunrise on Saturday. That's going to last through the day on Sunday. So this is a long duration event. Freezing rain, most likely scenario right now for central and north Alabama. So unfortunately, that means the possibility of course, travel impacts. In addition to that, trees could come down and we could be talking about power outages that last for some time. So I wanted to get you right to the first warning, future track. Confidence growing in this situation. Impact looks to be high. So if this pans out exactly how this model is showing it, we're looking at the onset of that wintry weather late Friday night into early on Saturday. So you want to be done with anything you need to get done by Friday night. And we're talking about the pink color here being the main mode here. So that means ice possible across central and north Alabama. This is through the day Saturday. This is lunchtime. And it just doesn't stop into Sunday either. We're looking at ice that could accumulate on power lines, trees, and also we're talking roads as well. So through the day Sunday, we will get a mixture of some freezing rain and some rain. And so this is going to be a situation where this lasts a few days, and it's too soon to give you exact placement or exact totals for that ice, but check it out. As this model keeps going through the weekend, you'll see those ice totals just really adding up. We're going to talk more about what some of the impacts from this could be coming up in my full forecast in just a few minutes. North Alabama as we head into the weekend. I want to get you started with a couple possible scenarios here. So we're going to start with best case scenario. We end up with a cold rain, or we end up with more sleet than freezing rain. That would be the best case scenario for this weekend. That would lead to minor impacts, difficult travel. Worst case scenario, major ice storm. We're talking about heavy ice accumulation that would lead to power outages for a lot of folks that could last a long time. And that would mean, of course, impossible travel conditions as well. And then we're going to get to the most likely here. So right now, the most likely scenario looks to be a wintry mix that could have freezing rain with ice that builds up on power lines, trees. And that would make very difficult travel conditions if you're able to travel at all. And we are looking at the possibility of some power outages this weekend. So that's the most likely right now. Understand the forecast can change, so it's important you keep checking back for the latest details. So that's the first thing we want you to do now. Check back on that forecast. Also, start mentally preparing for the possibility of some ice. Make sure you've got a grocery list of things you could eat if you have to go without power. Make sure you've got ways to stay warm in case you don't have power, and get things ready to go for kids. If you don't have your devices and you don't have TV, make sure you've got ways to stay occupied through the weekend. You want to make those lists and make those plans in case you need to put them into action. Next couple of days, we've got rain around at times, but temperatures in the 50s, no trouble here. The trouble starts late Friday into early Saturday, and it looks very likely we are going to have a winter storm across the southern U.S. Where exactly the worst of those impacts happen, that's going to all be determined on how those fine scale details come together, and those will be a lot more clear as we get closer to the event. But right now it looks like freezing rain is our most likely hazard, and we don't like freezing rain. No one wants freezing rain. Confidence is growing. If this scenario happens, what I'm about to show you, this would be a high impact event across central and north Alabama. So let's get that clock moving forward here into early Saturday morning, 3 a.m. We already see some freezing rain falling for central Alabama. We've got some snowflakes falling over north Alabama. So we want your preparations done by Friday night if this scenario happens. Of course, check back between now and then, but should this pan out, we'd want everybody ready to go by Friday night, because we start that freezing rain early Saturday and it just continues on throughout the day. And the more you see the pink hanging around, the more time we have for that freezing rain to be building up on power lines and trees, and that can cause trees to come down. That can cause power outages as well. By Sunday, we could see a change over to some rain, but we are dropping back below the freezing mark. So whatever's out there is likely to refreeze Sunday night into Monday. So let's talk ice accumulation. It's been a while since we've had an ice storm here in Alabama. And if the models pan out the way they're looking right now, I want to caution you, we're looking more towards the end of this scale here, the worst side of this scale. So major to extreme impacts with the possibility of that ice building up on trees and on power lines. And we could be talking about power outages for quite a few folks. We talked about that most likely scenario. I do want to show you this model run here, the latest in terms of the ice accumulation. And we're going to time it out for you here. late Friday into Saturday, it's already starting. So by 6 a.m., we're already starting to see a light glaze over central Alabama. That ice just keeps adding up through the day on Saturday and into Sunday as well. So this is going to be a long duration event where we could have that ice sticking around for some time, I should say. But remember, these forecasts can change. We're looking at global models here. Sometimes they don't handle the surface very well when we're talking about temperature. We get those high resolution models in during the day tomorrow and into Thursday, and we'll be able to give you a lot more clarity on specific ice totals, specific locations. So it's really important you check back, but I do want to note, whatever we get, if it's rain or if it's a wintry mix, if we have moisture left on the roads Sunday into Monday morning, we're talking about temperatures in the teens, so we could have a refreeze, and that could cause some split.
We're getting ready for that potential of some wintry, impactful weather here in central Alabama.
Yeah,
Taylor.
we do have impact days Saturday and Sunday. We're Monday morning.
All right, Taylor, well, we're grateful that you and the whole weather team are keeping us updated what we need to know, getting